Hello everyone, welcome to Card Making Fundamentals and welcome to lesson 2 of the Merry Wishes classroom. I'm so glad you're joining me today, and we have lots to do. Last Friday's video was a little bit long. Let's see if we can condense it a little bit, but we're going to need to do that by first taking out our lesson 2 kit, and then what we're going to need to create with the kit is you're going to need your black ink. And you're also going to definitely need your scissors. We're going to fussy cut the sentiment out. And then, what else? You're going to need your craft pick. And you're going to need your green ink. Break out your green ink. Your glue. And of course you're going to need your acrylic block. So this is everything that you're going to need. Your green and black ink, your acrylic block. Don't forget your stamp cleaner. You're going to need that because we're going to be cleaning off our stamp. You're going to need scissors, your glue, your craft pick, and your jewel picker-upper. Okay? You might need some scratch paper too because we are going to be stamping some more of those banners, and scratch paper, since there's overlap, will help. So bring in a piece of scratch paper too. Okay? This is everything that you're going to need. We're going to jump in and get started. Go ahead and take everything out. You can see it was kind of a tight fit in these clear packages. That's why I don't think our card will fit with all the bells and whistles. But next month's will be better. Let's take everything out. And while we're at it, let's take out the items that we're going to need from our die cut pack. This is going to make things a little bit easier. In our die cut pack, let's just kind of spread it out here. In our die cut pack, we're going to need a frame. We're going to need it's a little bit over a 1/4 inch frame. We're going to need this one. Okay, and then you're also going to need two of the banners here. Two of the banners. And these ones, you're going to need the ones with the holes. So 2 banners with the holes. And then you're also going to need one of the silver banners. This one here. And I think that's it. Nope, one more thing. Nope, it's in the other pack. So that's everything that we're going to need from our die cut pack. I'm going to put everything back. And you need to get your tape runner ready, and also in your tag bag, you're going to need your twine. If you don't want to use this twine, you can use what was left over from our last kit. And then you're also going to get this really thin strip of the silver cardstock that's in your Merry Wishes bonus tag bag. This little thin strip, you're going to need that. So this is what you're going to need extra. Okay, we're going to put everything aside and do a little stamping. Starting off with, we have some cardstock in our kit. We have a full sheet. So let's grab this. Put our gems up there. I'm going to zoom in. And then we're going to stamp first from our stamp set. We're going to need our holly leaf here. Let's take this, put it on acrylic block, and again you might want to go over it. And then we can take our green ink, and we're going to stamp this 5 times. We're going to do a bit of fussy cutting in this kit, but it's not that bad. There's our 5. You can do 6 for good measure. How about that? Never hurts to have an extra one. At least that's what I say. That's what I've learned. Let's clean off our stamp. And then in our stamp set, there's the sentiment that says joy. We're going to grab this. Make sure your acrylic block is dry, otherwise I found out that these don't stick. Okay. We're going to stamp the word joy with our black ink. We'll turn our panel sideways. And we'll stamp this. Twice here. Wonderful. And I'll clean off my stamp once more. You're gonna need your coral ink, guys. So grab that coral ink pad real fast. Let's put this back first. Okay. In our stamp set, we have that banner. We did stamping with it on our last card for our tag. No, actually for our card base. We're going to use this again. Let's see if I get it to fit. Okay. This is where our scratch paper is going to come in handy. Bring in your scratch paper, your green ink. We're going to ink up our polka dot banner with green. And then we're going to take one of our banners here, put it on your scratch paper. I'd say put it the way that you're inking up. If your fishtail is on the left, place your banner to the left too. And then we're going to stamp this. If you have a stamping positioner, you can do this with your stamping positioner. But just go over that banner, and it should cover it. I have a little white showing, but I don't think that's going to be that big of a deal. You see how I missed the top? But there's our green. Nice thing about this green ink is it pulls back a little bit. And then we'll clean it off once more. And then this is where I forgot to mention the coral ink. We're going to take one of our next banner, bring in your coral ink pad, and ink this up. We'll stamp on our scratch paper. Did I even get ink on the other side? No, I did good. Wow, that's a shock. Go over our next banner here. We only got a little bit on there. That's what it looks like if you picks it up. And we have our other tag finished. You can toss this or save this for our next project. I'm going to put away our inks, clean off our stamp, and then we're going to do a little fussy cutting. Fussy cutting, I guess, means chit-chat time, huh? Let's chit-chat. We'll put this back in our stamp set. Okay. I'm going to take my scissors, and I mentioned during lesson 1 I like to separate everything when we fussy cut. So we'll separate our joy and each one of our holly leaves and berries. Now don't worry about the berries being green. We're going to use gems to fix that. Okay, and what we're going to do is just use the scissors and fussy cut. And I'm going to show you. When you get to the berries, just go around them like so. And then just continue on. And then when you get to the next set, just go around them like this. And you know what? It doesn't have to be perfect because our gems will make it perfect. Like so. Okay. And I still have inky fingers. we're going to do the same to the rest of them. You only need 5, but if you want to do an extra one for good measure, you can. How's your day going? Mine is going good. My mother's having a good day. She's been having, I don't know if you follow me at Cards Cough Time. My mom is, was diagnosed with end-stage cancer. And she's, it was kind of a shock, really. We just found out a few months ago. And, she's a very healthy woman. I don't know how this happened. Sure made me go eat some ice cream. My mom took care of herself. She ate all organic, gluten-free, small amounts of protein, just very, very healthy dieter, and not dieter, but had a healthy diet. And she had, when she wasn't feeling good, they thought it was COVID, but she had COVID last December, and it didn't seem to recover. So the doctors, she kept going to the doctor, and my mom doesn't like to go to the doctors. The doctors kept saying, oh, you have long COVID, or the only thing we can see is you have a little bit of an elevated white blood cell count. And finally, my sister took her down to one of her co-workers, worked for a doctor, and he was a very good doctor, and she said, take him in, and he'll find out what's wrong with your mom right away. If it takes all day, he'll be there and figure it out. Those are the kind of doctors I want. And so she did, my mom did, and my mom had her spleen removed a while back, and they did a CT scan, I think it was, and then the doctor said, well, I see an enlarged spleen. And my mom says, well, I don't have a spleen. And then that's where the cancer was growing. So it was big, end stage. It had went to her liver and her lungs. And this is not happy card talk. But, so they gave her 2 months, basically. And so, it's been really hard for me. So that's why I've been late, guys. So I've been dealing with family issues, but thanks for bearing with me. You guys are the best. And I don't want to talk about sad stuff because it gets me emotional, and I want to be happy because it's a happy day. It's a beautiful day. Oh my goodness. We live in Kansas, and our seasons, we get all 4. So we get a little light snow in the winter. We get a beautiful fall. I think fall's my most favorite time of year because, although I love the snow, only if I'm inside in it. If I have to drive in it, forget it. But our leaves are changing, and they're beautiful, and I love fall. We'd had to run our fireplace once already. I didn't want to turn the heater on just yet because our weather's been kind of crazy. Hot, cold kind of a thing. But how are you all doing? You guys are just fabulous. I want to say that. I read before. I'm going to stop because I want to appreciate you guys. I read all of your comments, and I don't, social media is so much for me because I'm so busy that if I were to I've spent a whole day commenting on everybody's comments because there's so much media out there, and so I don't get a chance to say thank you. And so I'm going to take this opportunity to say thank you. You guys are all awesome. You guys are wonderful. And I appreciate all of you. Very, very much. Okay. My sentiments are done. You see how I fussy cut those out, and all of our hollies. And how are you guys doing? I don't know if a scan and cut will cut this out or not. It may, if you guys have that. I've never used one of those before, but I heard they're pretty fabulous. After we have this done, since we have them all laid out, you know what we're going to do? Take our gems, open them up, and where the green berries are, we're going to put a gem. And I'm gonna cut my package so I can slide these out. Some of you might have strips. And what you're gonna need to do is trim your gems and separate them, because I'm going to show you here. Your gems are attached with one line of glue like this, so you're going to need to separate them. So I just cut slits in between. This is where our craft pick comes in handy, and we just layer these on top. And remember, I mentioned it doesn't really, you don't have to get perfect around those curves of the berries. It's because our gems cover it. And you can't even tell. Look at it. I love that. It hides my imperfections. And we're just going to add our berries. Go ahead, or our berries. We're going to add our gems, our red gems, to all of our holly leaves. And you can do it just to 5 if you just did the 5. Okay. And we are moving quite along. Lovely. We'll see if we can get both cards and a tag done in half an hour. This one I need to separate. I didn't separate these next ones. I guess I didn't need to have to. You just really need 5 of the holly leaves with the berries. Okay. Good. I'm going to go ahead and trim away all the plastic and set this off to the side. Okay, well, now we're ready to build some cards. First, we're going to work with the card base that was in our lesson kit. For this card, you're going to take the grid paper, flip it around, use your tape runner, and adhere this to the middle of your card. For the pattern paper, I didn't use much of this one because to me it looked like socks and not stockings. I guess that's what stockings were. There's actually socks, huh? But I think that's why I didn't use it. If you're wondering how come I didn't use the stocking side. But we added our grid paper. After we have this adhered, we have our polka dots. Our polka dots are going to go just above the very bottom grid here. So let's use our tape runner and add this, lining it up all the way to the left, just above the very bottom grid, and it should fit the width of your card base. So one grid is showing. After we have this done, we have our berry pattern paper. There's 2 strips. Use the thicker strip, not the thinner one. Add some adhesive. I'm going to add 1 across the middle, maybe 2, because that's where this strip is going to go. Line it up, and then there's going to be a little extra overhanging. We're going to trim that off with our scissors. And then we have our white cardstock. I thought we would add white to kind of break it up. So let's add this down the middle. And I have it extra long because in case, so we can get it edge to edge. Sometimes it's easier. I would rather go over than under, I guess. Okay. After we have this strip, we have our striped pattern paper, the really thin one. Let's use our glue. Add a thin bead of glue. Instead of adding it to the paper, I'm going to add it right down the middle of that white strip of cardstock. And again, we have a little overhanging, so I'm going to trim off the excess. When I trim it off, I like to open the card. Just makes it easier. Lots of patterns. I love the colors though. Now we need a ribbon. And our ribbon is in our embellishment pack. So let's open this up. Take everything out. Don't lose your acetate beads. You can actually put them with the other pile over here. And we're going to take our ribbon. And this ribbon, we're going to open our card base. And we're going to tie a bow with it about 1 inch from the left edge of our card base. From our fold, I should say. Tying a bow. I need to scoot it down. We're going to tie a bow 1 inch from our fold. I'm upside down because for me it's easier. And then make your knot right at, if you guys aren't good at making bows, you can just tie a knot with this. I think it would be just as pretty. But make your bow right at the stripe paper. I'm going to flip it around because I'm upside down. For some reason my bows always turn out better when I'm upside down. At least that's my story. No, it's not going to work right. Okay. Fix my bow. I like to hold the inside of the bows and pull the tail of the bow to adjust it, like so. And then we're going to make an angle with the rest. You're going to have a little bit of ribbon left over. Keep this because we're going to need this for our next card. And then we're good. After we have this done, we are going to take our joy, one of our joys, we're going to flip it around, and these little foam are little foam strips. I didn't want you guys to have to cut the foam strips, but I like the dimension, so I cut them. I gave you some really thin strips. I put one on top of the J, one on the bottom of the J, and then one across the O, and then we'll put one on the bottom of the Y, and then probably one on the top to make it stable. This is going to go over the ribbon, so overkill's okay. So that's where our foam is. Let's remove the release paper. If you want to use your craft pick to do that, you can. It's helpful. I like to kind of put the point of the tip inside the foam, like you're stabbing it, and then lift it. It just makes it easier. It stays on your craft pick. Okay, got them all. We're going to flip this around. In lesson number 1, we had a few extra glue dots. If you want to use one of those and tack down the ribbon, you can. That will help secure it to hold it down, but you don't have to do that. This joy is going to go right over the ribbon here on top. Basically, you're putting it on the top of the grid paper here. After we have this done, we have some small foam squares. And we're going to add a couple. Actually, we just need one. We'll add one. We can add two here. We'll add one to the bottom of the bow here, like so. And then this next one, we'll just put one in the middle where the berries are. And then we'll remove the release paper. And then we can add this one at the top of the bow, like so. And then that will finish that card. going to clean up my mess and we're going to work on our next card, which is very easy. Let's go ahead and take one of our windows from our packaging here. We're going to put this off to the side. Okay, this one I mentioned is very easy. We're going to first take our acetate, take your silver frame. You can use your tape runner and go on the reverse side of it. And I ran out of tape with this one too. I'm going to bring in my tape runner. We're going to tack our acetate behind the frame here. You can see there. And then put this off to the side. Next, what we're going to do is take our 2 strips of pattern paper. Taking our green one, we're going to add some tape behind it, like so. We're going to tape this down to the center of the top of our window. You can open it up if you want to, but make sure it's in the center. Trim away the excess. And then take the leftover piece and follow it along on the bottom, centering it. Then trim off the excess, like so. Kind of looks like a ribbon going through it. If you want to use a ruler, you can. The ruler will help line them up. It'll make it easier. But eyeballing it's just as well. And we're going to do the same exact thing with the berry paper. Flip it around, add some adhesive behind it, add it to the middle of the top just so a little bit of that green's peeking out. Trim away the excess, and then take that berry piece and do the same on the bottom. And if you don't line it up all the way to the edge, that's fine because we're going to cover it. So it doesn't have to be perfect. The bottom though should look nice and clean. Okay. Now we have our ribbon, our leftover ribbon. You're going to trim away. If you have an angle at the end of your ribbon, make it completely straight. Line it up on the edge of your card so you know the width that you want. And then use your tape runner and add adhesive behind your ribbon here. Okay, that's the easiest way to do it. And then we're going to put this in the middle of our berry paper. Now it doesn't have to line up perfectly on the bottom here because you're not going to be able to see it. So if you want to, if it's not a straight edge, that's okay. Trim away the excess with your scissors. See, this doesn't look very pretty. That's what I mean. You don't have to have it all the way to, and I'm going to show you. You don't have to have it all the way to the edge because our frame is going to cover it. Let me show you. See, it's not all the way to the edge. So you don't have to be perfect with it. And you just want to make sure that the bottom is a clean cut here because that is what your recipient will see. Okay, and you can save this for another project. Put that with the other baker's twine. Actually, there's the other baker's twine. Okay, so we have green pattern paper, berry pattern paper, and ribbon. I like the natural texture of that. Now we're going to take our frame, make sure the acetate is facing you, and the pretty side is facing down. Put glue all around the edges. And then try not to get it near your acetate, the window. It won't look pretty. Take this and line this up right over the window, almost like you're creating a belt buckle. And hold this down until it grabs, like so. Now after we have this done, we're going to take our joy and we're going to add just a small bead of glue in the middle, and maybe on the top, and maybe on the sides. You don't really want too much glue because you're going to be seeing it on the other side. So just lightly tack this joy to the center of your acetate window. After we have this done, we only have to add a couple berries, and then this card is finished, so we can let that sit down and dry. If you want to put an acrylic block and help let that set, you can. I'm going to use my remaining 2 foam squares. I'm going to put one where the berry is. And then these are going to go right below our sentiment, right below the window. Like so. I think that looks really pretty. And then that card is done. And again, you might want to put an acrylic block to, this is a really lightweight one, but a heavy acrylic block to help weigh that frame down. That card's done. Now we're going to work on our tag. So let's grab a tag. We're going to take the stripe paper that we have left. Using our tape runner, we're going to adhere this to the very bottom, just lining it up to where the left and right are meeting and the bottom edge is meeting. Like so, and then trim away those corners. After we have this done, we have our very thin strip of that silver cardstock. Put a thin bead of glue just above our stripe paper, and then we can adhere this. Just this little silver makes a big difference. You'll see here after we place it. Doesn't it just make it stand out? I don't know what it is about the silver, but just makes it finished. We'll trim away the excess. And then we have our twine here. We're going to run this through our tag. And then we're going to also run our banners through. And again, if you want to do that glue trick, you can. In fact, I think I better. I'm just going to add a little glue here. I always like to thread it through the top of the twine. This twine's a little long, but this is our leftover. I'm going to end up trimming it in just a minute, but okay. So we have the green first, and then you can put the prettiest one you have first. And then I have our bell. We're going to take our bell package, take one of our bells. I like jingle bells on tags. We're going to thread our bell through here. And then I'm going to tie a knot. And then I'm going to tie a bow. Like so. Then we'll trim the tails of our twine. I have a little bit left over. I'm going to keep it. We might need that for another card. And then I created 6 of my berries. I'm going to put one off to the side. We just need one for this card. And I'm just going to use my glue, add it to the berry part of my stamp berry. We're going to add this to the corner. Like so. If you want to add 2, you could. And then we have our silver. Remember, don't get glue where you don't want it on this one. This one we're going to add a little to the very top of glue, to the very top, and I'm going to tuck this under because I just want to, right under the bell almost. And then if you want to tack down these other banners, you can, or put some foam squares behind it, you can, but I think free flowing is just perfect. And then that will finish off our tag. Clean up my mess a little bit here. So we have our 2 cards and our tag for lesson kit number 2. I hope you enjoyed the classroom. I'll see you next Friday, same time, same place, for lesson kit number 3. Have a wonderful weekend. I hope you will have a crafty weekend, and we'll see you soon. Thanks for putting up with my jibber jabber. Bye-bye.